English Daily, the podcast.
Your English journey starts now. Hey, English learners. Welcome back to your podcast, the English Daily Podcast.
Yes, we're so happy to have you here today.
Today's episode is all about hospitality English for 2026, and we're going to dive into a really important topic: how to handle difficult guests with the help of AI assistants.
That's right. And this is becoming such a crucial skill in the hospitality industry. With AI tools becoming more common, we really need to think about how to balance technology with that special human touch that makes guests feel truly cared for.
Absolutely. Whether you're working in hotels, restaurants, or any customer-facing role, you're going to encounter challenging situations. And today, we're going to give you the language skills and strategies you need to handle them professionally and confidently.
Plus, we'll show you how AI can actually help you be even better at your job, not replace that human connection that guests really appreciate.
So, let's get started. Here's your episode on English for Hospitality Professionals, handling difficult guests with AI assistance.
You know, Anna, before we talk about AI and all these amazing tools, I think we really need to understand who we're dealing with when it comes to difficult guests, because you can't solve a problem if you don't understand what's causing it in the first place, right?
Absolutely. And actually, I've been thinking about this a lot lately. When we say difficult guests, it's easy to just think of angry people shouting, but there's actually so much more to it than that.
Oh, you're so right. I remember when I was working at a hotel during college, we had this guest who never seemed happy no matter what we did. Like we upgraded his room, gave him late checkout, sent up complimentary breakfast. Nothing worked. And at the time, I was so frustrated.
Oh no, that sounds challenging. What do you think was going on with him?
Looking back, I think he was just someone who had very high expectations and maybe was going through something personal. But young me didn't have the skills to recognize that. That's why today's topic is so important. Understanding the different types of difficult guests helps us respond appropriately.
Exactly. So let's break it down for our listeners. The first type is what we call the demanding Dan or demanding Danielle. These are guests who have very specific expectations and want everything perfect. They're not necessarily angry, but they want things done exactly their way.
Oh, I love those names. That makes it so much easier to remember. So, demanding Dan wants everything a certain way. What are other types?
Well, we have the angry Andy, someone who's visibly upset, maybe raising their voice. We have the complainer Carl, who seems to find something wrong with everything. And we have the impatient Iris, who is always in a rush and gets frustrated waiting for anything.
You know, it's interesting. Understanding these types actually helps with the AI part too, because different types of guests might need different responses. But we'll get to that later. For now, let's think about what triggers these behaviors in the first place.
What do you think triggers difficult behavior most often?
Honestly, a lot of the time, it's not about us at all. It's about what happened before they even got to us. Maybe they had a terrible flight. Maybe they got lost finding the hotel. Maybe they had an argument with their partner. By the time they reach the front desk or restaurant, they're already on edge.
That's such an important point. I remember one time at a restaurant where I was managing, we had a guest who was absolutely furious about a delayed appetizer. I mean, really angry. But when I sat down with them and just listened, it turned out their whole vacation had been a disaster. Lost luggage, wrong hotel booking, rainy weather. That appetizer was just the final straw.
Wow, that's such a great example. And you know what? That empathy, that willingness to see beyond the immediate complaint, that's something that AI can help support, but it can never replace the human understanding.
Absolutely. So the key takeaway here is difficult guests aren't always difficult because of you. Often they're dealing with bigger stresses, and your job is to be that calming presence that helps turn their day around.
And with AI assistants, you can actually recognize patterns and get insights that help you understand guests better. But we'll talk about that in detail later. For now, let's move on to how AI is changing hospitality in 2026. Okay, so let's talk about the exciting part. AI in hospitality. 2026 is such an amazing time to be in this industry because the technology has really matured, you know?
It really has. I remember even just a few years ago, AI in hospitality meant basic chatbots that could only answer simple questions. Now it's so much more sophisticated.
Right, and I think it's important for our listeners to understand what's actually available now, not some futuristic sci-fi stuff. What are the main AI tools that hospitality professionals are using in 2026?
Oh, there's so much. Let me break down the main categories. First, we have AI-powered guest communication systems. These can include chatbots on websites and messaging apps that can handle initial inquiries, but more importantly, they can route messages to the right department and even suggest responses to staff.
That's really helpful. What else?
Then there's predictive analytics. AI can analyze guest data to predict who might have issues before they even happen. For example, if a guest has historically complained about noise, the system might flag that, and the hotel can proactively offer a quieter room.
That's incredible. So it's not just reacting to problems, it's preventing them.
Exactly. There's also AI-powered sentiment analysis. This is where the system can analyze review comments, social media mentions, even tone of voice in phone calls to gauge how happy or unhappy a guest is.
You know what I find most interesting? The AI tools that help with training. Like, there are simulation programs where staff can practice handling difficult situations with virtual guests powered by AI. It's like flight simulators, but for hospitality.
Oh, that's such a great point. And those training tools are amazing because they let people make mistakes and learn from them without affecting real guests. That's huge for building confidence.
But here's what I really want to emphasize, and this ties back to our theme today. The best AI tools in hospitality are the ones that support humans, not replace them. The most successful implementations are where AI handles the routine stuff, so humans can focus on the complex emotional situations that really need that human touch.
That's exactly right. And that's what we mean by human-centric leadership, using technology to enhance our ability to connect with people, not to replace that connection.
Can you give our listeners an example of what that looks like in practice?
Sure. Imagine a guest comes to the front desk upset about something. AI can instantly pull up their history, preferences, any previous issues they've had. The staff member then has all that context in seconds, which helps them personalize the interaction. But the actual empathy, the listening, the problem solving, that's still human.
That's such a good example. It's like AI giving you superpowers as a service professional, not replacing your skills. I love that framing.
And for our English learners, understanding this relationship between AI and human skills is going to be so valuable in the job market. Companies are looking for people who can work with these tools, not against them or instead of them.
Absolutely. Now, let's dig into what that human touch actually means and why it's so irreplaceable. So, Anna, we've talked about understanding difficult guests and about AI tools. Now let's get to the heart of today's topic. Why the human touch matters so much, especially in 2026 when we have all this amazing technology.
That's such an important question. And honestly, I think the answer might surprise some people. You'd think that with all this technology, human interaction would become less important, but actually, it's becoming more important.
Wait, really? Why do you think that is?
Think about it this way. When everything else becomes automated and efficient, what stands out? What creates that memorable experience? It's that genuine human connection. When a guest feels truly seen and understood, that's unforgettable. And AI, no matter how sophisticated, can't replicate genuine empathy.
That's such a great point. I remember reading about this concept called emotional labor in hospitality. It's the work of managing emotions and creating positive experiences for others. And that's fundamentally human.
Exactly. And here's where it gets interesting for handling difficult guests. When someone is upset, what do they really want? They want to feel heard. They want someone to acknowledge their frustration and take it seriously. Can AI do that to some degree? Sure. But can it really connect with someone in a moment of distress? That's much harder.
You know what I find fascinating? There's actually research on this. Studies show that when people are upset, they respond better to human interaction than to automated responses, even when the automated responses are more accurate or efficient. There's something about another person genuinely caring that just can't be replicated.
And that's why human-centric leadership is so important. It's a philosophy that says, yes, use all the tools available, but never forget that at the core of hospitality is human connection. The technology should enhance that, not replace it.
What are some practical ways that hospitality professionals can maintain that human touch while still using AI effectively?
Great question. First, always personalize the interaction. Use the guest's name, reference their preferences. AI can give you this information, but you need to deliver it in a human way. Second, use active listening. When a guest is complaining, give them your full attention. Don't be distracted by your phone or computer. Third, show genuine empathy. Use phrases that acknowledge their feelings, like, I can understand why that's frustrating for you.
Those are such practical tips. And you know what? These are also great English phrases for our learners to practice. We'll definitely come back to these in our vocabulary section.
For sure. And here's another important point. Sometimes the best human touch is knowing when to step in. If a guest is really struggling, maybe AI has handled the initial inquiry, but now they need a real person. Recognizing that moment and stepping in personally, that's irreplaceable.
That's such good advice. And I think it also speaks to a bigger skill, being able to read situations and adapt. That's something AI can support, but never fully replicate. Human intuition, if you will.
Exactly. So as our listeners go forward in their hospitality careers, I want them to remember AI is a tool to help you be even better at the human side of the job, not a replacement for it.
Now let's get really practical. I know our listeners are probably thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but how do I actually use AI in my daily work? So let's break down some real tools and strategies.
I love this part because it's where theory meets practice. Let's start with the basics. What are the most common AI tools that hospitality staff actually use?
Well, it depends on the property and the role, but let me outline the main categories. First, there are AI-powered communication platforms. These are systems that can automatically sort and prioritize guest messages. Some can even draft suggested responses for staff to review and send.
That sounds incredibly useful, especially during busy periods. How does that work exactly?
So, let's say a hotel gets 100 messages in an hour. The AI can read them all and categorize them: urgent complaints, simple questions, requests for information. It can then flag the urgent ones for immediate attention while handling the simple ones automatically or queuing them for response. This helps staff focus on what matters most.
What about when a guest is already upset? Is there AI that helps with that?
Yes, there are sentiment analysis tools. These can analyze the language a guest is using, both in written messages and sometimes in voice calls, to determine how upset they really are. Then it can alert managers and recommend appropriate responses based on the severity.
That sounds helpful, but I can also see how it might feel a bit, I don't know, impersonal, like being reduced to a data point.
That's a valid concern, and this is where human-centric leadership really matters. The best implementations use this data to help humans provide better service, not to replace human judgment. The AI might say, "This guest is highly upset," but it's still up to the human to decide how to respond with empathy and care.
That's such an important distinction. And I think for our listeners, the key is to see AI as information that helps you make better decisions, not as a replacement for your judgment and empathy.
Absolutely. Another category is AI-powered knowledge bases. These are systems that can instantly answer common questions from staff. Like if a guest asks about the hotel's cancellation policy, the AI can pull up the exact information and even suggest how to explain it in different languages.
Oh, that's so valuable for English learners because you can see how native speakers phrase things, what professional vocabulary is used. It's like having an instant reference guide.
Exactly. And that brings us to another great use: language translation and assistance. AI translation tools have become so much better. If a guest speaks limited English, AI can help facilitate communication in real time.
You know what's interesting? I was talking to a hotel manager recently, and she told me that AI has actually improved some aspects of cross-cultural communication because it helps staff understand not just the words, but sometimes the context and nuances.
Can you give an example?
Sure, in some cultures, directly saying no to a guest might be considered very rude. So a guest might say, "That might be difficult," when they actually mean no. AI can sometimes recognize these patterns and advise staff on how to respond appropriately.
That's such a sophisticated use. So it's not just about translation, it's about cultural intelligence too. That's really impressive.
The technology is amazing. But remember, it's always in service of human connection. The AI provides insights and assistance, but the actual care and empathy comes from the human being.
Perfect. Now let's talk about some specific situations where this all comes together: how to handle specific types of difficult guests. Let's get really specific now. What are some common difficult situations that hospitality professionals face, and how can AI help handle them?
Great question. Let's start with one of the most common, the guest who is angry about wait times. This could be waiting for check-in, waiting for a table at a restaurant, waiting for room service.
Oh, I hate those situations. Everyone's already frustrated, and it feels like you're always playing catch-up.
Exactly. And here's where AI can help. Many hotels and restaurants now have systems that can predict wait times more accurately and even communicate proactively with guests. Like, if there's a delay, the system can automatically message the guest and offer solutions.
That's so smart. So instead of the guest having to come to you angry, you've already reached out to them.
Exactly. And that's a great example of using AI for prevention rather than just reaction. Now, what about when a guest is already angry and in front of you?
That's where the human skills really come in. But AI can still help, right?
Can you explain how?
Sure. Imagine you're dealing with an angry guest and you have access to their history through AI. You might discover this is their third stay this month, or they've had issues before. That context helps you understand that this might be part of a bigger pattern, and you can address it more comprehensively.
That's such a good point. It's like having a complete picture instead of just reacting to the moment.
Another situation: the guest who wants something that's against policy. This is always tricky. You want to say no, but you don't want to make them angry.
Ugh, those are the hardest. You feel stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Right. And here's where AI can help with language and approach. Some systems can suggest alternative solutions or ways to phrase things that are more likely to be accepted. Plus, AI can quickly search for any exceptions or flexibility that might exist in the policies.
That's so practical. I also find that AI can help with something called recovery situations, when something has gone wrong and you need to make it right.
What do you mean?
Well, there's a concept in hospitality called service recovery. When something goes wrong, how you handle it can actually turn a dissatisfied guest into a loyal one. AI can help by quickly suggesting appropriate compensation based on the severity of the issue and the guest's value.
That's really interesting. So it's not just about making the problem go away, it's about turning a negative into a positive.
Exactly. And I think that's such an important mindset shift. Difficult guests are actually opportunities to demonstrate exceptional service and create loyalty.
That's such a great perspective. And I think it applies to all aspects of hospitality. Every challenge is an opportunity to connect and create a memorable experience.
Absolutely. Now let's talk about one more really important situation. When a guest makes a complaint that involves sensitive issues, maybe discrimination, harassment, or serious safety concerns.
Oh, that's so important. Those situations are completely different from regular complaints.
They are. And here's where human-centric leadership really matters. AI should never be the primary handler for these situations. They require immediate human attention, human judgment, and human care. AI can help with documentation and reporting, but the response must always be human-led.
That's such an important point. Some situations are just too important and too sensitive to automate. Knowing when not to use AI is just as important as knowing when to use it.
Exactly. And that's a key skill for 2026 hospitality professionals, being able to discern which situations need full human involvement and which can be supported by AI.
So, Anna, we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about understanding difficult guests, AI tools, the importance of human touch, and specific situations. Now let's bring it all together. How do we actually balance automation with empathy on a daily basis?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I think the key is to think of AI as an enhancement to your skills, not a replacement. Let me break it down into some practical principles.
I'm all ears.
Okay, first principle. Use AI for preparation, but rely on yourself for interaction. Before you meet a guest or respond to a message, let AI gather information, suggest responses, flag potential issues. But when you're actually interacting with the guest, be fully present as a human.
That's such good advice. It's like using AI to prep for a presentation, but you're still the one giving it.
Exactly. Second principle. Personalize every interaction. Even if AI suggests a response, add your own touch. Use the guest's name, reference something specific about them. Show that you see them as an individual, not a transaction.
I love that. And you know what? That personal touch is what makes the difference between good service and exceptional service.
Absolutely. Third principle. Know when to escalate. If a situation is beyond your ability to handle or requires human judgment, don't be afraid to bring in a manager or colleague. AI can help identify these situations, but the decision should always be human.
That's so important. There's no shame in getting help. Actually, it shows good judgment.
And finally, fourth principle. Use AI for continuous learning. After difficult situations, review what happened, what worked, what didn't. Use AI analytics to identify patterns in your own performance and areas for improvement.
That's such a growth mindset approach. It's not about being perfect, it's about always getting better.
Fifth principle. Maintain your human skills even as you use AI. Practice active listening, work on your empathy, develop your emotional intelligence. These skills become even more valuable as AI handles more routine tasks.
You know what I find interesting? All of these principles actually apply beyond hospitality, too. They're about being a better human being in a world where we have access to amazing tools.
That's so true. And I think that's what makes this such an exciting time to be in hospitality. We have these incredible tools to help us, but the human element remains at the core. It's not either or, it's both and.
Absolutely. So let me summarize what we've talked about today. We've covered understanding different types of difficult guests, the amazing AI tools available in 2026, why the human touch is more important than ever, practical ways to handle complaints with AI support, and how to balance automation with empathy.
That's a lot of ground. And now I think it's time to move into our vocabulary section, where we'll break down some essential phrases for handling difficult situations.
I'm excited for that. This is where our listeners really get to practice the language they'll use in real situations.
Welcome back, everyone. Now it's time for our vocabulary breakdown. Today we're going to learn 15 to 20 essential phrases for handling difficult guests in hospitality settings.
These are phrases you're actually going to use on the job, so pay close attention.
Let's start with phrases for acknowledging a guest's concern. The first one is, I completely understand how frustrating that must be.
This is such an important phrase. You're validating the guest's feelings without necessarily agreeing that the situation is their fault. It's empathetic but professional.
Right. Example, I completely understand how frustrating that must be. Let me see what I can do to help.
Next phrase, I apologize for the inconvenience. This is a simple but powerful way to show empathy even if the problem wasn't your fault.
Yes, and notice we say inconvenience, not mistake or error. It's a softer word that acknowledges their difficulty without admitting fault. Example, I apologize for the inconvenience this has caused you during your stay.
Third phrase, let me look into this for you right away. This shows you're taking action, which is what upset guests really want.
Exactly. The word right away emphasizes urgency. Example, I understand your concern about the room. Let me look into this for you right away.
What about phrases for when you need to say no to a request?
Great question. A good phrase is, unfortunately, that's not something I'm able to do, but what I can do is... It acknowledges the limitation while immediately offering an alternative.
That's such a useful structure. It turns a no into a solution.
Fourth phrase, I'd be happy to help you with that. This positive language sets a helpful tone from the beginning. Example, I'd be happy to help you with a late checkout. What's the latest time you need?
Could you please repeat that? I want to make sure I understand correctly. This is great for de-escalation. It shows you're taking them seriously and not dismissing their concern.
What about phrases for when you need to involve a manager?
A good phrase is, I want to make sure you receive the best possible service. May I get my supervisor involved to help resolve this? This frames involving a manager as adding value, not as admitting failure.
I love that. Sixth phrase, thank you for bringing this to our attention. This reframes a complaint as helpful feedback. Example, thank you for bringing this to our attention. We really value guests like you who help us improve.
Is there anything else I can help you with today? This shows you're committed to complete service and gives the guest another chance to raise concerns.
I appreciate your patience. This acknowledges that their time is valuable and you're aware they've had to wait or deal with frustration.
What about phrases specifically for AI-assisted situations?
Good point. Based on your previous stays with us, I can see this shows you've used available information to personalize their experience. Example, based on your previous stays with us, I can see you prefer a quiet room. I've noted that for your current booking.
That's such a great way to use guest history data.
Ninth phrase. Let me check our system for available options. This is perfect when AI has given you information, but you need to verify or expand on it. It sounds professional and thorough.
10th phrase, I'm pleased to inform you that. This positive phrasing turns even routine information into good news. Example, I'm pleased to inform you that we've been able to upgrade your room at no additional charge.
11th phrase. If there's anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out. This invites further communication and shows you're available for ongoing support.
12th phrase. I understand this isn't the experience we want for our guests. This takes ownership without being defensive. Example, I understand this isn't the experience we want for our guests, and I want to make it right.
What about phrases for de-escalation when someone is really angry?
This is crucial. I can hear how upset you are, and I'm here to help resolve this. This acknowledges the emotion without reacting to it defensively.
13th phrase. Let's work together to find a solution. This positions you as a partner rather than an opponent. It invites collaboration.
14th phrase. Your feedback is invaluable to us. Even when feedback is negative, framing it as valuable shows you take it seriously.
15th phrase. I want to ensure you have a wonderful experience for the rest of your stay. This focuses on the future and shows you care about their overall experience, not just fixing the immediate problem.
These are all so practical. I think our listeners are going to find these incredibly useful.
Practice these phrases. The more natural they become, the more confident you'll feel in difficult situations.
Now it's time for our reflection questions. These are questions for you to think about after today's episode. Consider your own experiences and how you might apply what we've discussed.
First question. Can you think of a time when you were a difficult customer or guest? What was causing your frustration, and how would you have wanted to be treated differently? This helps build empathy for the guests you'll serve.
Second question. What type of difficult guest do you think you'd find most challenging to handle, and why? Understanding your own weaknesses is the first step to improving.
Third question. How do you currently feel about using AI tools in your work? Are you excited, nervous, or somewhere in between? It's normal to have mixed feelings about new technology.
Fourth question. What human skills do you think are most important for providing excellent guest service, and how can AI help enhance those skills rather than replace them?
Fifth question. Think of a recent negative service experience you had as a customer. What did the staff do well, and what could they have done better? Use this as a learning opportunity.
Sixth question. How might you use AI tools to prepare for handling a difficult situation before it happens? What information would be most helpful?
Seventh question. What is one phrase from today's vocabulary that you want to practice using this week? How will you incorporate it into your English?
Eighth question. How do you balance efficiency with empathy in your daily work? Are there times when you rush through interactions? And how can you slow down to provide more personalized service?
Ninth question. What cultural considerations might affect how difficult situations are handled? How can AI help with cultural awareness, and what limitations might exist?
10th question. How do you practice self-care after dealing with difficult guests or challenging situations? It's important to take care of yourself so you can continue providing excellent service.
Take your time with these questions. Reflect on them, maybe even write down some answers. That's where real learning happens.
Well, we've covered a lot today, haven't we?
We really have. From understanding difficult guests to using AI tools, from the importance of human touch to practical phrases and real-world application.
And I think the biggest takeaway is this. AI is an incredible tool that can help us be better at our jobs, but it can never replace the human connection that makes hospitality special.
Exactly. The most successful hospitality professionals in 2026 will be those who can effectively combine technology with genuine empathy and emotional intelligence.
So keep practicing those phrases, keep developing your skills, and remember that every difficult situation is an opportunity to create a memorable, positive experience for your guests.
And keep listening to the English Daily Podcast. We'll be here with more episodes to help you improve your English and your hospitality skills.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you found this episode helpful and practical.
If you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please let us know. We're here to help you succeed.
That's all for today, everyone. Keep practicing, keep learning, and we'll see you next time.
Bye for now. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Your learning journey doesn't stop here. Keep improving your English. Click the next video or explore more episodes we've picked just for you. See you in the next lesson.